Hello snowboarders of the internet, I am your host TC and today I will be reviewing the new Salomon Goop. If you're interested in this board or any other of the products that I've mentioned in this video, make sure you're clicking those affiliate links down in the description below, and that way you don't have to go looking for this board yourself. The Goop is equipped with Salomon's rock-out camber profile, so what that means is you're going to have rocker on the nose and on the tail, and you're gonna have camber in between your feet and underneath your feet. So what that's gonna do is that rocker is gonna give you float, ease and entry, or ease and exit out of each turn, and that camber section is gonna give you that pop, precision, and the drive that you're looking for. The Goop is offered in a 153, a 157, and a 161. I rode this board at Copper Mountain where it was a dark day. I can't even say it was flat light because it was just absolutely just dark out there, where it was pretty much snowing all day. We got about 7 inches like right before the mountain opened, so the groomers didn't have a chance to get out before we did, so it was a beautiful POW day. Super windy up top where you'd be on that T-bar and you're just getting hit with straight wind in your face. As you worked your way down to the mountain, it wasn't as crazy or anything like that. And if you knew where to go, all of that snow that was blowing around wind loaded on one side, so there were absolute freshies to be had all day. And I used my Ride Fuse boots and Jones Mercury phase bindings. When we're talking overall flex on this board, it is coming in at about the middle of the road, possibly a little bit softer than that, but it has a directional flex to it. So that nose is going to be the softest part of the board, and it's going to stiffen up as you get to the tail, where it's maybe the middle of the road at that tail, but really not even that stiff. As we talk about the torsional flex, it's super easy to foot steer, nice and maneuverable in that sense. And I felt like this board really wanted to flex pretty much right where that rocker zone starts. So right on the nose and on the tail there. So right outside the bindings is kind of where it wants to flex at. And stability wise, it was actually surprisingly very stable, where even though there were some pushed out sections, some chundery sections, this board just went right over it. It just kind of just rolled with the punches on that one, and I didn't really have to worry about getting leg fatigue or anything like that, or getting bounced around, just because this board just wanted to flex over all of those uneven conditions. So when I was ollieing this board, I realized very quickly you don't have to put a lot of work to get this tail to load up and pop you, and it returns that pop really well, especially for it being on the softer side. This thing has some boost to it, where I could load it up and just trust that it was gonna launch me without actually having to put any effort into it, really, where I wasn't like leaning all the way back to get it to roll or anything like that. I can really just use that tail, press into it, and have it just launch me. And the same goes for when it goes off of jumps. It felt great. I know a lot of people are like, this board's pretty directional to be taking it in the park and everything. It wasn't my choice. The rep told me to do it, and I'm super glad that he did, because this thing was so much fun off of jumps. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really fun on the medium jump line. It could probably handle that large line, but I just had such a good time on the medium, didn't have to go there with it. It will land switch really well too, where that surprised me, where I thought it was gonna be a little bit more awkward than it was, but I was able to get that back one around and just stomp it and not have any worries, where it didn't really even feel like I was riding a directional board when I was riding it switch. But it felt very stompy. You can let the lip do the work and you'll still be in control, but you know, what's the fun in that? Go to the moon, as I like to do. So I loaded this thing up and it returned it. It had a nice snap to it where it just felt really comfortable, super fun on jumps. I had zero issues there, and it just had great stompy landings. While I have you here, you might as well like, subscribe, click that bell, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our scheduled programming. Butterability, it definitely has two sides to it, where the nose is super easy. I pretty much just had to shift my weight over that front binding and it was already buttering on the nose, just because of how soft that thing actually is. When I was buttering on the tail, it required a little bit more effort. Kind of slid those hips right over this Goop logo in the back, and this thing would wheelie for me. It has that nice blunted tail on it with a super aggressive kick, so it just wanted to wheelie back like that and hold for me. super fun. Didn't really have to work too hard at it. Expect more pop on the tail than on the nose. There's a slight pop on the nose, and there's definitely more on the tail there. And it pretty much translates directly into the jibbing portion, where I had to work harder when I was tail pressing on rails. Nose pressing, didn't really have to do anything, just kind of lean forward a little bit and it pressed for me. So really not that hard on this board. But the main thing that I was super surprised about was when I was sliding this thing sideways, just doing a board slide on a rail. This thing just flexes right around that rail and just holds in that spot. So even if I landed a little bit more underneath my front foot, the board naturally just kind of gravitated towards the middle there, where I didn't have to work to try to balance on there. It just naturally wanted to put me in the middle. So super comfortable. It was actually amazing to board slide on, gave me more confidence than usual. And especially it surprised me because it's a directional board and I hate jibbing directional boards, but it was super fun. Like can't describe that, or can't really. It's not the most aggressively carving board out there, where you're gonna pretty much, if you overpower this thing, you're gonna know right away it's gonna fold on you. If you just keep it cruisy and more mellow, where you're not trying to just rip every heel side carve like it's your last, you're gonna be totally fine on it. It's super maneuverable, especially when you're in the trees or those moguly sections. It's just really easy to wiggle around, get it through those. As you get to those medium carves, as I mentioned before, if it's a little rutted out or a little bumpy, you don't really have a problem there. It'll just roll with the bumps, so don't really have to worry about just running into anything too big. I mean, unless you're going into a huge ice mogul section, probably wouldn't do that with it, but anything else, you got some fresh snow on top, it'll just roll with those punches. As you get to those larger carves, just make sure that you have either fresh pow or a smoother groomer. You get into those moguled out sections when you're hauling ass on a large carve, you're gonna get bounced around. It's not gonna be quite as stable, so just keep it a little bit more mellow doing those and you'll be all good to go. It will Euro carve. I say shift that weight back a little bit and you'll be able to just get that Euro carve around. I didn't really have any problems there. Even on heel side Euros, it'll do it. Just make sure, as I mentioned before, you're not trying to muscle it through. Let the board choose the route and just follow along with it. Rider in mind. This board could be for a bunch of different people actually. It could be for that guy who wants to take like POW runs, a little bit more freestyle, where they possibly might go into POW Park at the end of the day, but for the most part, they stay free riding. Or it could be for the complete opposite, where this person really likes just riding park, but they need a board that they're gonna be able to go and rip POW with, where this thing can go pretty much anywhere except for like crazy steep chutes and like the most technical hard charging terrain, but anything else this thing will handle. You don't have to be the best rider out there. You can be that intermediate to advanced and still have a great time on this board. It's just one of those that appeals to so many people, and I absolutely agree with that. If you're looking for another way to get involved in the Angry Snowboarder community, head on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. What is it, you might ask? Sure, I could explain it there, but we have a great video getting into it really in depth. I really enjoyed this board. It was so much fun. We took it to the top of the mountain, hit some drops with it, took it to the park, absolutely had a blast pretty much wherever I went on it. Yeah, it's not gonna be the hardest charging board out there, but honestly, that's kind of why it shines, where I could just take it cruisy, I could get a little bit more aggressive on it, I could go to the drops, do whatever I wanted, and it was gonna hold up for me. Yeah, I couldn't carve as hard as I would like, but honestly, nobody really wants to just have a full charging like POW board that's just gonna just skip across the moguls when you have something that butters this fun. It just doesn't exist. It's not one of those things, it's like an oxymoron, but this thing was a blast. I can't stress that enough. I highly recommend you guys get one if you're looking for something that you can kind of take anywhere, but still has taper in it. Truly, truly fun. Salomon, you guys crushed it. I love the pop on this board. It was a blast, and I know you guys are like, you have said that so many times, but it truly is. Comparable boards, the Rome Ravine, the K2 Passport, and the Ride Moderator. Recommended bindings, the Salomon Hologram, the Union Force, and the Jones Mercury. As always, guys, I've been your host TC, and this has been my review of the new Salomon Goop. If this doesn't sound like the board for you, or you just need to make a little bit more informed decision, why don't you go check out one of the videos for the comparable boards, and I know we'll point you in the right direction.